Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meditation Coach Leo's great content. Today, the topic is going to be on the following. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a very famous meditation coach or teacher. And he does a lot of global seminars about how to change by providing a lot of scientific background. And he does a lot of workshops and get togethers worldwide to help people change their behavior by changing the way they think and feel and act. I came across this one particular type of meditation technique, and it's called pineal gland activating meditation technique. So, what is the pineal gland, you might ask? So, pineal gland is situated in your brain. It's a very small piece of part of your brain, and its primary function is to secrete serotonin and melatonin. So, what is serotonin? Serotonin is the chemical that is responsible for you to make you get up in the morning. So, it's very responsive to lighting or light. So, when you see the light in the morning, through the sensory receptor, you receive the daylight coming in, the sunlight coming in, and it turns on the pineal gland and it secretes serotonin. And that's how you start your day. On the flip side, melatonin is the nighttime neurotransmitter. So what happens is when the sun sets and when the room and the entire ambience gets dark, pineal gland starts to produce melatonin, and eventually you fall asleep that way. So why do we need to activate this pineal gland? Because there are some studies found that if your pineal gland is not activated or if it's not used properly, an individual can go through a lot of unwanted mental symptoms, such as the following. They can become very anxious. They can become very jealous of other people's success or their progress. Sometimes they become overly sensitive about how others view them from the external world. Sometimes they get very anxious and afraid about the future because they lack confidence. Sometimes they become very impractical. They become very lazy in a way. And sometimes they become very superstitious. And so they start to believe in other ways of comforting themselves by trying to find solutions in the external world instead of trying to find the real solution from deep within. In a nutshell, they become very counterproductive in terms of their life quality and their self-development. However, when your pineal gland gets activated the right way and it is used the right way, then you can experience all the other list of things that I just listed, which is things like you become very self-driven, you become very bold and confident. You start to imagine the best scenarios. You start to imagine possibilities, all the dreams that you dreamed of. And you become very vivid and clear-headed. And your innovative thinking and imaginative thinking gets very, very improved. In my other video in the past, I have made a video about your energy centers throughout your body. There are 7 key regions where they're responsible for using your vital energy. And if you recall, the base 3 energies are situated at the lower half of your body. So it starts from your perineum, your reproductive system, to your digestive system, and it comes all the way up to your chest, your respiratory system, to your throat, to your head, and eventually to your crown area. The key to this particular type of meditation is to pull the energy from the lower centers, the survival centers where most of your vital energy is stored, and release those type of energy force up to the upper portion of your body, mainly your head, in order to reach your pineal gland. Based on some of the statistics in scientific research, believe it or not, we live our lives day by day. 70% of the time, we're releasing some sort of stress hormones. So caught in traffic, your project doesn't is not developing the way that you want. You get to an argument with your family member. The weather sucks, what have you. All those things that you go through day to day, believe it or not, it creates stress. It could be minor, it could be major, but at the end of the day, they're all hormones of stress. When that happens, you want to have a drink, you want to have something sweet, you want to have something spicy, and you want to perhaps make love. So what happens is, or you want to fight or flight. So what happens is you are being very, very honest to your, I guess, survival instincts. So those three energy centers that are situated in the lower half of your body. When you're stressed, it's not a time for you to trust somebody, and it's not the time for you to do volunteer work. It's not the right time for you to start imagining a rosy future, because you need to take care of yourself. You are being pressured. You're cornered. You're not going to have the luxury or comfort to try to tap into your higher intelligence in a way. Dr. Joe mentions that in order to practice this particular type of meditation, you need to first start working on the intrinsic muscles. So what are the intrinsic muscles? So because you are trying to pump the energy source from the lower parts of your body to your head, you need to use the spinal fluid. What is spinal fluid anyway? It's made up of protein, it's made up of salt, and it's made up of solutions. You're basically using the channel in your spine in order to pump up those stored energies from the three centers below and push it up towards your head through your back. So the reason why you need to practice, or at least get a feeling of how to squeeze contract the muscles of the intrinsic muscle, is because of this. So perineum sits right between your reproductive system and your butt, your behind, basically. So when you do a Kegel exercise, for example, so that's the first piece of muscle that you need to use to kind of get the process flowing. So you start squeezing that while you are in a meditation posture, and you breathe in through your nose, you inhale it, and that's where you squeeze it. And then the next point of region or your intrinsic muscle that you need to start building on is your abdominal muscles. Not just your six-pack, the outer part of the muscle, but the very deep layer where you use to breathe in real deep and make your maybe stomach touch your back in a way. So that is the muscle that you need to use to kind of squeeze your lower and the upper part of your torso in a way. So it goes from the perineum, goes through the abdominal muscle, and you pump it up again by using your chest muscle. You breathe in really deep, and then it goes through your throat, to your mouth, and then eventually it'll reach your pineal gland. So when this energy, as I mentioned before, the spinal fluid has the protein and the solution, and when they mix together, there's a chemical reaction, and what happens is this becomes a charged molecule. So this charged molecule is eventually what you're sending up through your channel from your lower centers to your upper center. So through one deep breathing, you're contracting the muscles of these intrinsic muscles that I just mentioned to you about, and you are lifting it up. And so in the very beginning, it's very hard to do this because, again, yogis can do this very well because they practice this on a daily basis. But you can too. It's not impossible. That's why I am recommending for you to start feeling where these muscles are first before you even attempt to try to do this meditation technique to reach your pineal gland. Because when you breathe, each time you inhale and exhale, what happens is your sutra and your sacrum, it opens up. There's a little hole that gets opened up, and that's when you start pumping those spinal fluid, which has the chemical reactive charged molecules to be sent from your bottom to your top. When this happens, another amazing stuff happens. Sympathetic nervous system gets turned on, and at the same time, your parasympathetic nervous system gets turned on. And so these two sympathetic systems merges together. And when this nervous system merges together, that's when you feel less stressed. that's when you can really start kind of ignoring your survival instincts and your survival demands, like reproduction and consumption and fight or flight. This is when you can really start to believe and trust the unknown. And this is the point where if you reach the pineal gland the right way, obviously because your nervous system gives you a different feeling, your brainwave pattern will probably go down from high beta to alpha, perhaps theta. In a way, when this happens, your frustration, your anger, your fear, your jealousy, your guilt, all of these negative emotions starts to kind of fade away. And what happens is, because the energy now, majority of the energy, the vital energy, is centered in your pineal gland, in your head, the upper body, the higher intelligence region, the upper part of your body becomes magnetic, and your upper part becomes a positively charged, and your lower centers becomes negatively charged. So in a way, you have this harmonious, balanced, balanced being. So you are one with the nature. You're one with the earth, in a way, with the universe. The earth has the North Pole and the South Pole, as you know. So when this happens, another amazing things happen. And this is why we want to do this type of meditation, because when the pineal gland gets activated, it starts to send signal to your pituitary gland. And pituitary gland is responsible for making the love chemical, or the oxytocin and vasopressin. And there's been studies that's been proven where oxytocin, the love chemical, is good for your heart health. So when this happens, it can starts to release amazing bodily healthy effects. So I heard that the molecules that can be generated by turning on your pineal gland, you can create antioxidant, anti-cancer, anti-aging, antimicrobacterial, all because in a way your body is a super pharmacy. It has all the necessary chemicals to produce its own remedies. And some people call this pineal gland the third eye. So if you can be able to open your third eye by doing this pineal gland activating meditation technique, if you can do it right and if you can do it often, not only your mood will change for the better, but you can also regain your health and get rid of some of the unwanted ailments that you're suffering from. I know it's a little bit complicated, but again, I try to simplify the lecture from Dr. Joe as much as possible. I hope you like this video, and please hit that like button. If you can subscribe, I would love that and appreciate that. I'll be back with more fruitful content next time. Until then, take care, everyone. Peace.